So, the iPhone 17 lineup of devices from Apple is right around the corner, about 1 month away to be precise. And one of the most interesting devices coming from the iPhone 17 lineup this time around is the rumored iPhone 17 Air. Well, right now it's more than just a rumor, as smartphone case companies, even GSM Arena, has posted actual specs for the iPhone 17 Air. In this video, I will be talking about those specs from the iPhone 17 Air, what I think about the iPhone 17 Air, and who the iPhone 17 Air is geared towards. Let's dive right into this video. So, a lot of people rumored that the iPhone 17 Air might be a direct competitor to the Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge, a device Samsung released earlier this year to brag that it's the thinnest Galaxy ever. I think it was around 5.8 millimeters thick. And the iPhone 17 Air is rumored to be 5.5 millimeters thick. That's 0.3 millimeters thinner than the iPhone S25 Edge. But what are the specs like for the iPhone 17 Air? What can they cram into such a small form factor of a device? So right now I'm on GSM Arena, and I will be talking about and discussing the specs they have listed for the iPhone 17 Air. So far, GSM Arena is one of the most trusted sources as it relates to smartphone specs, etc. whenever a phone is about to be announced, even though this might not be accurate because the device is not announced. So take all these information with a grain of salt. Let's get discussing. First off, it is rumored to have a 6.9-inch display, a 1320 by 2868 pixels. Weird aspect ratio from Apple as always, but a 1320 resolution display is pretty decent, especially for 2025 standards. It's packing enough pixel density to have a good enough display to watch content, scroll on social media, and not too much to drain the battery too fast. You know you will be getting the best of the best as it relates to displays from the Pro and the Pro Max. So this is decent for the type of device it is. You have 48 megapixel at 2160p camera, so it shoots 2160, 48 megapixel. Again, it's decent for one camera on an Air device. It's like the iPad Air moving right along. 8 gigabytes of RAM. That's a lot coming from Apple, even though they say they're going to have 12 gigabytes on the 17 Pro, the 17 Pro Max. So let's see how that pans out. But a measly 3000 milliamp hour battery. But they're rumored to have a silicon carbon battery in the iPhone 17 Air. That's what GSM Arena says right here. I didn't say it, guys. GSM Arena did. So take that info with a grain of salt. Moving right along. Now, for the network, we know very little about the network technology. Obviously, it's going to have 5G, it's 2025, 4G is a given. The body, the dimensions of the device is 163 by 77.6 by 5.5 millimeters, as I mentioned earlier for the dimensions, and it's going to come in at 146 grams. That's a very light device, to be honest. It's going to have a glass front with an aluminum frame and a glass back, as usual, but not titanium. I heard the entire series of the iPhone 17 will be ditching titanium and going back to aluminum. I guess Apple sees that this titanium wagon isn't really working out, but I hope Samsung keeps it up. I really like the titanium feel, especially on my S24 Ultra, where it was released first. It's gonna be only in eSIM. How would they fit a physical SIM card in such a small form factor anyways? And it's going to have IP68, dust and water resistant as usual, Apple Pay, blah 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 blah. It's going to have a LTPO Super Retina display at 120 Hz. Finally, we're going to see 120 Hz on Apple devices that are not the Pros. This is such a breath of fresh air buying a premium device in 2025 and finally getting 120 Hz as the bare minimum. It's also gonna be packed with HDR10, Dolby Vision, and goes up to 1000 nits for typical brightness and boost to 2000 nits. Screen size 6.9 inches as I mentioned earlier, with a 92.2% screen to body ratio. So the screens will be touching the edge of the device. It's not anything they didn't do before or any company haven't done before, but still sounds interesting on paper. So the resolution, back with pixel density, this is 458. It's nothing impressive, but it's good enough for the type of device that it is. Because a device like this, well, let me not spoil it, let me move right along. It's gonna come with iOS 26, of course. It's gonna have the Apple A19 chip, which all the devices from the 17 lineup will have, which is based on a 3nm processor. Now the Pro and the Pro Max will have the A19 Pro chip, different from the regular 17 and the 17 Air. There won't be any 17 Plus for this lineup. Then you have 128GB base storage, 256, and the 512GB variant, all with 8GB of RAM. Then you have 4K, 24, 25, the given, yada yada yada, HDR, it's a single camera. The front facing camera will be 12 megapixels. You have HDR. They don't have the exact Wi-Fi chip that will be in this device, maybe Wi-Fi 6, who knows. You have USB Type-C, a measly 2.0 port in 2025. Yuck, that's disgusting. Face ID as usual, you know, Apple is promoting their iMessage like it's something special. And the 3000 milliamp hour silicon carbon battery. Now, right now they only have black as the rumored color for the iPhone Air, but I think they're gonna release this nice blue I've been seeing a lot on social media and rumor sites. Who is this device for? This device would fall perfectly for those wanting to have a slim, sleek design that's easy to transport, although it will get thick if you add a case, but people who are, you know, phobic to thick phones, to bulky phones, and like thin phones, you know, and this might be geared towards people who would buy the Plus devices because the Plus devices had the least amount of sales from Apple. So maybe this is where this device will pick up. They cut back on some of the things from the Plus and pack it into a little Air device, new and introduced, revolutionary. Wow. Also, this is probably gonna go for around, I'm saying $500, $600, not like what Samsung did. Well, $700, $800, that was absurd for such a small device with a tiny battery. But Samsung devices are packed full of features, and it came with 2 cameras instead of 1. And the pixel density for the screen on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge is way better than what this is offering, and also the peak brightness and the anti-reflective coating that this won't have. And this might be good for someone who wants to try Apple out for the first time. You know, if it is cheaper than the base model 17, of course. And if I would recommend the base model 17 to you, I would also recommend the 16 Pro to you because it would go for around the same price, if you get what I mean. Every year when a new device gets announced, the older device go down in price, and they still packed most of the features that the new devices have, unless they're very old or Apple decided to release something extremely new, which they rarely do. So instead of buying the 17, you could get the 16 Pro, but if you can't afford like the 17 Pro, the 17 Pro Max, but you want the latest to brag on your friends that you have an iPhone and they have green bubble, you could get the base model 17 or the 17 Air. But I think this phone is really niched towards people who actually want it and want a thin phone. Like, we already have the SE. Like, I don't get it. But yeah, who am I to judge? I'm Chev on Beckford, and if you found this video informative and entertaining, feel free to hit the like button and the subscribe button so I can continue making more videos like these. Chev on Beckford, signing out. iPhone 17 Air style. Bye.